So much what you say. Welcome to the February meeting of the Transit Riders Council. Can we get an approval of today's agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. How about the minutes? Everyone have a chance to review the minutes?
Andrew, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as read. They're fine.
As read or as submitted?
Submitted, both.
Thank you.
Let's just proceed, because I'm done.
Okay, Stuart has seconded, so that's great.
Thank you.
So, the first item I wanted to talk to is the item that's pretty much on everybody's mind, which is safety in the system. I've been writing a fair amount recently, and I've noticed, more and more police officers in various places, and people have even sent me texts that say, guess what, I saw a police officer on my train and or bus. I know that, Commissioner Sewell has made, the subway station that happens to be on your beat part of your regular beat now, so police officers that have a particular area with subway stations in them are now advised to go and also subway station, which is a great idea. And I did hear Mayor Adams say yesterday, we're not going to have clerical police officers. We're going to have them out patrolling. So all of that bodes well, as does the additional ridership that we are experiencing. We have hit a post-Omicron high of over 3 million riders a day, and that wasn't just on a Thursday. That was like for 4 days in a row. So that's a very good sign. Perhaps employers are also bringing their workers back, which would be great news for the restaurants, shoe repair shops, and everybody else adjacent to the business districts that we have. But there are also now announcements in every subway station about keeping safe, don't stand near the edge of the platform. And of course, with the countdown clocks and all the apps, you really don't have to peer down the tunnel to see if your train is coming. I still like to do it, but I certainly am aware of who's around me. Everybody seems to be much more careful about what they're doing, and I see a lot more folks against the walls in stations, or clinging to a pole or something. So,
everybody's standing in the middle.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's great for performers because they have this audience all together now, and, but that's a good sign, and I think as more and more people return to the system, that also means it's going to be safer in the system. So that seems to be good news. The more good news is that there is an additional purchase of 60 all-electric buses that was just made, which will bring the total up to 75. So we are really going in an all-electric bus direction, and that bodes very well for the air quality and the reliability of the buses and the sound. The electric buses are pretty quiet, I have to say.
Yeah.
So that's all good news. Don't have exact delivery dates, but New Flyer Industries is the beneficiary of all of these orders, both orders. So that's great. And I understand that the SEPTA system in Philadelphia and other systems have also gone all out to purchase all electric bus fleets.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
But there's a lot of competition for the buses.
Oh, there is.
And in the Senate Assembly hearing that we participated in the other day, one of the questions was about whether any of the New York State, whether New York State would be the beneficiary of any of the contracts, any of the companies in the New York State. And they're ramping up production and they're ramping up development of factories to be able to build some of the, at least component parts here.
That's good, because New Flyer is not in New York State.
Right, but especially in Buffalo.
Yeah. And hopefully we can get the stuff across the border from Canada that we need.
Well, now we have a better shot at it, yes.
Yeah. So that's great. Let me just say a word about the new zoning for accessibility law that is now in effect in New York. This is having some really terrific effects. Of course, the 57th Street, 6th Avenue F station is the beneficiary of that. Yes. But there is a brand new beneficiary of this program, and Lisa's going to tell you about it. It's a place I never expected I would hear. But the 5th Avenue E&M station and a development nearby. Lisa, want to explain what we signed on to about that?
I do. I want to see if we can figure out how to share the screen.
Yeah, that would be great.
I have to do it from over here, or can I do it from over here?
What is Sharon doing?
I don't know, tying something.
Digging the body.
I'm making kindling. I'm breaking up dead branches to make kindling because we don't waste anything here on the farm. But I'm
Oh.
listening. I'm listening.
Okay, all right. We can see, we can see your activities. You're certainly more active than any of us.
Very impressive, Sharon.
But I don't want to share it till I know what share.
That's awesome. Oh, that's, and I did, hey, Stu, I'm sorry, Bert, remember, I did Maxwell at the same time I did the meeting, so I'm multitasking too.
Mhm.
Okay, I think we're about to get, here we go.
Okay,
570 Fifth Avenue.
Oh, yes.
there we go.
Lovely.
Great. So this is,
Nice graphic.
we received a presentation from the developers of 570 Fifth Avenue. Xtel is developing this property. This is on Fifth Avenue between 46th and 47th Street. So, which is not.
Right away from 53rd and 5th.
A bit away from 53rd Street, Fifth Avenue. Yet that is the station that they're looking to make improvements. So they went before, city planning, earlier this week, and, that was a rendering of, the building that they're looking at, and they are either going to develop office space, or residential and, hotel. So the space that they are, developing is, marked as site. You can see that it's between Rockefeller Center and the station, which is the one at Fifth Avenue and 53rd Street, where the E and the M, where they will be, where they're proposing to make these improvements. Anybody who uses that station, as I do, knows it's one of those deep stations
Yeah,
that
the bi-level station.
bi-level station that I certainly go out of my way to avoid whenever I can, just because it's so it's deep. The escalators don't always work.
Yeah.
It's crowded, and you can really only get in and out at the ends. So as a remedy to that, what these developers, and here are pictures of what it looks like for anyone who doesn't.
Only it was that crowded today.
Well, you know what? When trains come in at both levels at the same time,
Oh,
it is going up and down the stairs, even today, maybe not a year ago today, but, you know, it's getting back there. So there are currently entrances, / exits at the Madison Avenue end and the Fifth Avenue end.
Thank God.
And, what they're proposing to do is to build an entrance mid-block. And this entrance would look similar, to what the Second Avenue, stop looks like in 96. There would be, an escalator, bi-level escalator, or an escalator that would take you down. It would also be working with developers that are building, on the adjacent property, you see an elevator shaft there, to do an elevator that would go to both levels. So currently, that does not exist at this station, any different. So it would make it fully accessible with one elevator level.
And mid-block, that's very interesting.
Mid-block, so that would,
They're showing R211 trains in there.
Hey, gotta give them credit.
so this highlighted is what the improvements would be. It's substantial. It's 85 feet below, below bedrock, into bedrock. It's deep. There would be disruption. In addition to allowing them to get, bonuses, right, for what they could do, their development that's on Fifth Avenue, 46th, 47th Street, they would, you know, we hope, and one of the things that we spoke to them about and asked for, and hope that they're working on with the MTA, is that they would then be responsible for the maintenance of elevators, or the elevator and the escalator, in this build out here.
Do you know what the agreement was for the Fifth Avenue, for the 57th Street and 6th Avenue F stations?
I don't know. Sarah just joined us, I don't know. She has.
Sarah might have.
But, what they told us when we were speaking to them was that one of the issues, stations, because it's so cramped, and because the escalator escalators at either end go out often,
Yeah.
currently. Is that any work that's any work that's being done, that would need to be done at 53rd and Lex? Also, there needs to be stability in terms of sure that the access and egress to, 53rd, 5th, so that people can get in and out of that station, so making sure that there's,
So when you said 53rd and Lex, you meant they have to make sure those escalators are in fine working order as well while they do this? Is that-
correct, and both ways. Right, so one station has to be in good shape so the other one can go out as needed, and the other station has to be in good shape so the other can go out as needed.
So this station would be totally taken out of service?
No,
or-
the station would not be totally taken
Oh,
out of
okay.
service. Obviously, as they're pouring down 8 stories, they would need to have some shutdowns and some slowdowns, but they did not anticipate when we spoke with them that they would shut down at the station. Sarah or Kate, I don't know if either of you, has any interest in weighing in on this, but we were asked to submit a letter of, support for this. We think, that weighing in only on the transit improvement side of it, that this is pretty much what CFA was, and this is also a beneficiary of the East Midtown, rezoning. So that would allow for these kind of transit improvements. We saw what one Vanderbilt did for transit, and the other work that's happening in that Midtown area. So that this is what, at the CFA and East Midtown meant to do, was to allow for these kind of transit improvements. That, this is a free info into.
We were happy to sign on to this. This is a no-brainer, obviously.
Yeah. So this is the first step in the process, and a process it shall be.
And did they give any indication the length of the construction period once they
It
begin?
take 4 or 5 years, I believe. Yeah.
4 or 5 years.
It's construction and permits, and they, they need to, I guess, market also. But it's in Europe now, so that's what this.
They take it today, it's gonna be nice and warm.
I know. That they might want to take the temperature.
Well, this is great. So this is really the kind of project that CFA was made to accommodate and promote, and we hope to see a lot more of this. Developers get zoning bonuses if they're within so many feet of an existing subway entrance.
Deborah asked if they can also wrap it. No.
I don't think
This
there's
is
room for it.
way too deep. This is, that's one of the reasons we want to make sure that the, elevators and escalators are maintained. But this, you'd need to go probably back and forth 3 blocks in order to get the 2% grade. That would be, I would say, physically impossible.
And looking at the geography of this, I don't see where you have any kind of room underground to burrow and make a ramp.
And it might be dangerous because if you think about it, in that area, a part of Midtown, that's a little, something can happen, it could crack or something can happen, but
There's no way. You literally have to
that's
go
what I just said,
blocks
yeah.
in order to make it 2%.
Exactly.
Lisa, just.
Hold on, please. Hold on, Stuart.
No, go ahead.
It sounds great that they've offered to maintain.
Well, they haven't offered to maintain.
Oh.
That's what we're
Okay.
saying,
All right,
that's what we're
Yeah, that would,
asking. They're in conversation with the
that
MTA.
would be my question, that
Yeah.
if they did that, let's say they sold their interest in the property, what happens? What are we on the hook for? Also, if it ever needed replacement of the devices, can we absorb those costs? But other than that, it sounds great. But we would just have to see and be clear on what those costs could be in the future. How long does an escalator last, you know what I'm saying? I don't know the answer.
The Madison Avenue end of the Fifth Avenue, E&M stations, that escalator is frequently out, always a problem.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten a little better as of late, but I remember using that station frequently and and people having to walk really a lot of steps.
Yeah.
Right.
Really deep.
But we should nail that down if we really want to
Absolutely.
sign on, yeah.
Thank you, Stuart.
We'll make sure that there's a long-term maintenance, and cost in there.
And if the property ever is transferred, that obligation gets transferred as well.
Right, because they may want to just get their money
Yeah.
and get out and.
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah. The only question I have maybe two, but if we can make it a little bigger on top, because I see we're on the upper mezzanine, is there a second elevator that will take the people up to the street level?
It's one elevator that goes up, all the way up and down.
Yeah, it looks like it's.
So, because the way it looks like, because I'm just trying to look from here, because it's, small, because the concern is that with that station, once they do build an elevator, that elevator is gonna be very congested. It's already congested at Lexington and 53rd, because when people need to switch from the E and M to the 6, that elevator there, and I know Debbie's saying the same thing I'm saying, the concern is there is it's a concern because one elevator might not be enough just going there, because it's deep, but that station, when people want to get to the E and M trains, they want to get on to go to Queens or going towards Penn Station, because that station, everyone's going to Long Island Railroad, Metro, North by then, but right now, I'm talking about present, because things can change in the future. But a lot of people really want focus.
This is it. This is what they're doing.
Okay.
This is not us building it. This is not us
Oh,
proposing
no,
it.
not making a decision and things. I'm just saying that, this might be brought up.
It's
But
not.
I just,
This
It's
is
already
it.
done.
This is what they're proposing to build. So we can support it, as is. They're even working with the developer, where the elevator's being built, they don't even own that property. They're working with the developer of a different property to get that elevator built.
okay.
So they don't even have to do that, but they are as part of this development. So this is an extra double bonus.
Mr. X?
Possible, they can build a travel between there and Rockford Center, which is nearby. As you know, the trains were constantly routed between these two boroughs. Very annoying and confusing for the riders over the years. I was built with travel between there and Rockford Center, only one stop apart, that's gladly appreciated. But as you know, people make the world go around like stylistics.
So I'm gonna go with, no. One of the things that in the, 100 Days, 100 Nights report that we did call for was looking at building a tunnel transfer, between 59th Street and 63rd Street, right? And, there were a lot of issues in the streetscape, under streetscape, of why that was going to be so, technically, infeasible to do. But, I mean, you can do anything with the billions and billions of dollars, but if, is that the priority project? Or if you're gonna balance it of building a tunnel or allowing a free transfer and say, making 3 stations ADA accessible, what's the balance? And again, that's not our decision to make. But this is a project that's being taken on by private, under the zoning for accessibility and the town zoning, that we think is what those two things are designed for. And we are happy to support them. And
You could actually argue that the distance between Fifth Avenue and 53rd and 47th, 50th Street is even less than it is between 59th, and Lex, and 63rd and Lex.
so maybe this is where you ask for another free transfer.
And I think that also the fact that doing, DFA, this stuff is happening quite faster than what we thought it would.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that now we have 2 stations now that are being made accessible, this is great, and we
We'll take a lot of the congestion off.
Absolutely. This is a great thing. So thank you for that.
There's someone's hands up.
Oh, someone's hand is up. Deborah Grimes.
Thank you. Okay, I see what's being done, but I'm going to tell you, and I know why they're doing it, because all 59 community boards had to vote on this proposal that if a building is near or on top of an existing train station and they build the elevators, they get major tax breaks. But we can also push them to make sure that they can figure out how to make those elevators bigger, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. People like myself who may use with our walkers or wheelchairs will be shoved and pushed and not even be able to get on the elevators because everyone doesn't give a damn and they push us out. And if they could probably even figure a few ways to make certain ramps, it can be done. If it was done at 42nd Street on the A and the E at Port Authority, it definitely can be. No one's thinking out of the box.
Those
And
are
I
not A-
will,
They're
now,
not
I
ADA
understand
compliant.
that. I understand what you're saying, but they're not thinking out of the box as usual.
They can't
And
build those
there are
ramps.
ways they can do that, and they're not. There are ways.
Remember, they can't build those ramps today. Those are not ADA compliant ramps. So those ramps, if they tried to build them today, wouldn't be buildable. So
They
you
could
wouldn't even
build at
have
the
those
same
ramps.
time, Lisa, they could build at the same time. They're rebuilding the elevators and escalators. I didn't say to do a non-ADA. They have the time to figure out how to do it. And that includes also getting on and off and out of the station too, and into the building. I want to make sure because there are times they forget, and then they have to go back and do it. So before they forget, they have to, you need to check
Deborah?
into this. Yes.
Deborah,
Yeah.
what do you have
Yeah.
against the C-train?
What do I have against?
C-train, yeah, you listed the A and the E at 42nd and 8th, but not.
Well,
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, because right now I know that my time to speak is limited. I have nothing against the C train or an E or an A. And yes, I do use the C train many times if I have to get back to Brooklyn and the other trains aren't working because I can go down the ramp at 42nd Street. That's why. So, but I'm talking about the C train doesn't go to where you're rebuilding the new station unless they reroute it in emergency, right?
Thank you.
Andrew,
I suppose, Deborah.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yes, Shaul. There's also one more zoning for accessibility project that is in the works. A developer at the north side of Queens Plaza is planning to get a density bonus there, to add an elevator from the street to the overhead pathway from the north side of Queens Plaza to the station mezzanine, and to bring to widen the staircase there. So there's another project in the works. Yeah.
Queens Plaza, really?
Queensborough Plaza.
Queensborough
Yeah.
Plaza.
And I will say that even the grumpy people in the community that hate every development like that development.
I know.
Oh, Queensborough Plaza, to have that accessible, well, I know that's in the works.
Yeah.
You know, to have the NW, N7 all connected, accessible is great,
That's great.
really great. Mr. X, then we're gonna move on.
They're making that station for us, yes, that's decades ago, but they could build physical transportation nearby. That would help the riders.
Between Queensborough and Queens Plaza, is that what you're doing?
They actually had an opportunity a few years ago with the development on the corner of there, to build an underground passage between the two stations, but they unfortunately lost out on that opportunity.
That was a real missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That would have been an amazing complex.
Sure.
Wow. Okay, so the last item is, I was gonna report on, and Lisa's gonna do a good deal of it, is the new fare options and where Atlantic Ticket fits into that discussion. So, I think we're gonna do a screen share again.
We are.
Sharing is caring.
Sharon is not Karen.
No, that's
No.
true. But Karen is not doing kindling.
But I have a Kindle.
Right.
Okay, now.
There we go.
Okay. So, I'm going to say from the outset that this is a presentation that Sarah Meyer gave, to the Long Island Railroad Commuter Council and was kind enough to allow us to, use these slides to present to both the Metro North Railroad Commuter Council and to TRC. So, thank you, Sarah and team. We have these. this opportunity. So as Andrew has mentioned, and as we've spoken about in previous meetings, the MTA is introducing new fare discount policies, and as we've been strong proponents of for years, but particularly more so recently with the Freedom Ticket Tour, we believe firmly, we collectively have expressed that reducing fares is a great opportunity to get riders back on board. The MTA cites as its goals reasons for reducing fares as a way to attract lapsed riders, to incentivize infrequent riders to travel more, and to keep the MTA on solid financial footing. As you may all know, the 2025 is the backdrop of Reading, so we've got a couple of years to go find ways to get more funding in the coffers, but the number one best way to do that is to get more riders back more frequently and to keep that trend going. Okay, so there are fare promotions on the commuter rails and on New York City Transit. On the commuter rails, effective on the 25th of February, both on Metro North and Long Island Railroad, 20% off 20 trip tickets.
That makes it look like it's available for 1 hour in 2022.
Oh, yeah.
What is the time limit?
Oh, hold on, Sharon.
What's the time limit on the 20 trips?
It is for, I'm getting there. Hold on. Let me get this, and if there's still any questions, then I'll answer them. So there's a 20% discount on the 20 trip e-tickets.
Okay.
These are not physical tickets. These are on your phone. 10% discount on a monthly city ticket expansion, which, as you know, came out of New York City Transit Riders Council, to weekday off-peak, and then effective on the 28th, it's an Omni fare capping, weekly fare capping, and we'll hear more about Omni. So the 20% discount on 20 trip tickets, which is something the LIRCC strongly advocated for and Jerry really pushed for.
And Randy, too.
And Randy as well. Something that's been in place on New Jersey Transit is for, it's a 60-day validity. So it's for people who are not quite ready to go back full time, but who are maybe traveling 2 or 3 days a week into the office or to wherever they're going.
And an occasional weekend.
And an occasion, well, it's peak fares, so you may not want to travel, you may not want to do that.
Yeah.
And it's to or from Zone 1. Again, it's e-tics, and it's valid for 60 days. But however, if you're going on a trip with other people, you can use your tickets to take others with you. So if Karen and I are going, we can both use one person's 20 trip ticket, and Bradley too, and Jessica, and whoever else wants to come. So this is an opportunity to, for people to get more comfortable on e-tics, to expand its use, to get people who are coming back on a hybrid work schedule to come back more, and to get people to transition back to peak fares, because those fares are ending at the end of this month, as they've been off peak for the last almost 2 years. And again, those are effective on February 25th. There is also a 10% discount on monthlies, and that's for people who are going traveling in 5 days or more a week and want their regular monthly ticket, and that's up to 71% off one-way peak fares. And this is done in recognition of the fact that the monthly riders can pay the highest fares probably in the country. And it was really pushed by Neil Zickerman and Larry Schwartz. And this is, again, a transition back to peak fares. And it's, even though many people who have been regularly riding have been purchasing monthlies.
Even though people in the far east end of Long Island and far north end of Metro North have the highest monthly fares, there has been a cap of $500 a month.
Yes.
So they have benefited from that, but this is in recognition that they are paying the most of anybody.
Yes, and right. And then city ticket expansion. Hold on. I know, but I just want to get through these. Okay. So on city ticket expansion, that will, currently, city ticket is permitted on weekends, and it's a flat fee to travel on any of the commuter rails within the city on weekends. This will expand it to allow for travel on either of the commuter rails within the city during any off-peak period, including weekends, but it could be on a Tuesday on an off-peak period of time for a flat fare within the city. And it's only valid for the day of use
And
and in one direction, right? So it's not what we pushed for expanding Atlantic ticket. It doesn't have the same constraint of a same-day, single ticket purchase. It will be available on e-tickets, whereas Atlantic ticket is not yet. It is basically to test drive, from what we understand, expansion of Atlantic ticket throughout the network more fully.
And does not have the weekly
Right.
and transfer.
It does not have the transfers, right? It encourages off-peak travel, which is where the railroads are actually seeing the largest amount of their travel currently. And that's also effective on the 25th. Atlantic ticket is still in effect, and this is a point that we continue to make. We had a great meeting with Sarah and her team earlier this week to express our interest in messaging that Atlantic ticket is not only still in effect, but it's still a great deal that the weekly ticket still includes transfers to subways and buses, and that it should still be something that's put out there, particularly for Southeast Queens riders. So we all know about Atlantic ticket,
And Brooklyn.
and Brooklyn, yeah.
Thank you.
So that Atlantic ticket's still in effect, and hopefully one day everything will be known as city ticket, but we hope that one day will all be known as freedom ticket. And then the next is Omni weekly fare capping, and I think that we'll probably hear more about this from our speaker later. But essentially, starting on Mondays, beginning on Mondays after 12 trips, if you use the same device or the same card, after 12 trips, you ride for free. So 13 is your lucky number, right through the next Sunday. So you could ride 50 times, you could ride 13 times.
And it means you don't have to lay out the $33 up front to get the deal, the best deal.
Right. So I'm not going to go into any level of detail on this because I would imagine that Amy will. And so that is that. So I know that I will take this off screen, Sharon, so that we can.
I think we still have a question.
Yeah, so Sharon had a question.
Yeah.
And then Bradley had, you want me to leave that back on? Okay, sorry.
And I see Jason has.
I have a question, Andrew.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on, so Sharon.
After Brandon.
Sharon?
Whoops, you answered it. You answered it.
All right, great. Bradley?
One clarifying point, we were meeting with Sarah Meyer. She had mentioned that, and I'd asked a question about being able to provide the weekly Atlantic ticket on e-text. And is the fact that you have revenue going to the Long Island Railroad and to New York City Transit, so that would be on e-text. So opportunity once Omni comes online to be able to better. So at this point, it seems like it's not likely that at these would transfer option. One question I had, I think, on the previous slide, where it's so Lisa, I don't know if you can see if the resistance
The further you travel, the more cost.
Right.
Right. So, I didn't do this math, so I can't speak to it, but this is, and if I did do the math, you wouldn't want me to speak to it. But these are, the amount, even if it's $78, could be that. But I mean, Andrew, I don't know if they've given you the amount of, I was asking you, I don't know if they've given you the breakdown of the dollar amounts and the percentages, but It's
But
just,
obviously, that variation on percentage off one-way peak fares depends on what, like if you're going to a close-in zone or a far-out zone. That's why you have that variation. You're paying more if you're in a far-out zone, so the discount would be technically higher.
I'll have to look at it.
But the breakdown by zone, I don't have.
I didn't 10% off monthly tickets on that, apparently.
I know Stuart has a question, Christopher, I think, and then I know we've got other people who are,
Go ahead,
other
sir.
guests, but.
Okay, so this sounds great, but remember we once spoke before about Metro North and Long Island Railroad have different definitions of what's peak.
Yes.
So one is 6 a.m. to 10 for the Long Island Railroad and 6 a.m. to 9 for Metro North. So has that discussion come up again? Is there a cohort of riders that would be franchised, for lack of a better word? Because I don't know when people are
Under 1 hour.
Yeah,
Ticket?
right, and then maybe that's something we should be pushing for equity in the definitions of peak and off-peak, so that, if there truly is a group that's large, on the Metro North stream, they should get that same counter advantage,
Where did you see?
It's on the agency's website.
Okay, because for freedom ticket analysis, they've always saying, and we've had discussions with them, that it is,
It's right on the website, I looked it up.
Now, later.
And also, the thing is also on Metro North, reverse peak fares are peak fares because there's so many reverse commuters, so that limits the,
Right, but it's, I think it's a time frame, so that's good, I think that it's 10 o'clock, 10 a.m.
6 to 10 on the red.
I think that they're using
6 to
10
9.
a.m. as the
Okay.
start time, but we'll check on that, that's a great point.
Or if it is, and then the website is wrong, then just make that.
Well, now there will be one president in charge of 2 railroads, so
For
we
now.
see more universality, right, universality. I don't know, yeah, thank you.
Chris,
Universal?
you have something?
Yeah, one thing, Bradley, Debbie couldn't hardly hear you, and they were asking, can you raise your voice a little bit when you speak a little bit? That's why I was trying to get his attention, because we can't hear you, they can't hear you.
Okay, you just say speak up. Yeah.
I didn't know how to interrupt because I was trying to give a signal, but the signal wasn't working, so we'll talk about that later, but let me focus the point. I agree with Stuart when he's saying, because, and I agree with you, Bradley, it is a little confusing, but if once Sarah did, I was at the Long Island Railroad, and when I'm looking at it, it's nice to see that bringing, like, the higher price you pay, like you go to the last zone, like it's almost 2 arms and a leg, almost $500 whatever dollars. The more percentage goes down, it is about time that community out there deserves a little bit, because it's in the boondocks and prayer, if a train ever will run, they pay all that money and that concern. But the one question is the reduced fare end? Does that percentage comes into it? Because I see full fare, but I don't see reduced fare. And this has been going on even when Edith, and I know Edith's been saying it, I've been saying it, they talk about full fare, but how about the half fare customers that do travel also out there, even on Metro North as well?
Is that a monthly ticket?
Yes,
Monthly reduced fare?
yes.
Question.
And I know Sarah Berry is raising her hand, and I know she's ready to say something, and I'm glad she's.
Yeah, hi, this is Sarah from the Mta Accessibility team. Yeah, reduced fare is not available yet on Omni, but it is going to be rolled out soon. And fare capping will be included in Omni reduced fare at some point. We just don't know, we don't have a timeline yet. But good flag, Chris, it is something that we are working on and aware of, and we're constantly in communications with Sarah's team and the Omni PMO to make sure that that's incorporated.
Sarah, I think also the question was about the reduced fare on getting the same discount percentages on the commuter rail.
Yeah, so that's also being talked about as well. So fare capping overall in general for, Metro North, Long Island Railroad, New York City Transit are all in conversations. And when reduced fare for Omni rolls out, fare capping for them should also roll out. So right now we don't have exactly how it's going to look for reduced fare, but we're working on it. So I don't know if it'll be exactly the same as you see here, or it will be a little bit different. Okay, so I was just, it's going to be exactly the same for reduced fare and those who are not reduced fare. We just got confirmation. So these discounts will apply to reduced fare customers when it is rolled out.
So it will apply to the 10% for the monthly reduced fare and the 20%. So if you get a 20%, a 20-trip ticket, will there be 20-trip ticket reduced fare also?
It's in the system.
Not in the system yet?
Yeah, so Omni reduced fare is not available yet.
Not for Omni, on the commuter rail.
So fare capping, so reduced fare applies now to Long Island Railroad, and that's not going to be changed with fare capping. For fare capping, or best fare specifically, for best fares, it's going to be applied for Omni reduced fare. So for right now, these discounts will not apply to reduced fare customers until we roll out the Omni reduced fare program, which is in the works.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay.
So it's in the
We're not-
pipelines. It's a few months away still.
All right, because we're not talking about Omni specifically fare capping, we're talking separately also about the 10% reduction for Long Island Railroad and Metro North users for their regular tickets and the 20-trip ticket discount.
I can't imagine it wouldn't also apply,
Right,
because it sounds like everything else will also apply. So
okay,
we'll inquire.
thank you.
Yep. I've been remiss in saying that Trudy is not with us today because she's an important person in the New York State Democratic Party, and as you know, they're having their convention yesterday and today. She sends her regrets. Karen?
Yeah, so I realize that I'm not hearing about transfer to the mode. So if I have to take the railroad and I take the subway, or then going home, I'm taking like subway and stuff. What is that transfer mechanism? That being addressed?
You mean for, if you're using Omni, it's a seamless transfer, it's the same kind of transfer system, and that's a question we can ask of our guests
Omni
later.
comes to the
But
railroad,
that
yeah.
comes- So you're saying when it comes to the railroad, then you'll be able to transfer automatically?
But if you buy an Atlantic ticket weekly, you have that option.
Only weekly.
Right,
Only the weekly,
otherwise
for
it does
$60,
not,
yeah.
it does not.
We're continuing to push for the transfer on the one-way.
Yep, and I do think Amy is planning on talking to some of this when she joins us at 1.
Yes, yes.
Great.
Just an addendum to your question. So, like right now, if you went to a machine, you could buy a combination ticket and Metro card. E-tickets program, does it have that option?
Which ticket
I
are you
went
talking about?
Long Island Railroad, to use the railroad and to use the subway or bus system, they sell a product where the paper ticket has a stripe that uses a Metro card.
Yep.
My question is there something with the e-ticket?
I don't believe so, I'm looking it up.
Because buses now have fare readers for Omni, so Karen's question is a great question.
I mean, you would think they would, because
if-
every vehicle has a reader.
Right. But if it's all gonna have to wait till Omni, that's probably the answer, if that's.
I have a feeling that you're gonna have to wait till Omni is everywhere, but, Lisa's looking that up. So, hold on, please. I've got some questions, people have been, Jason, you've been waiting, wanna ask your question?
No, Stuart, you can't buy it.
Jason, can you unmute?
Yes. I was on Sarah's presentation. She gave a good one. But in terms of fare capping, it is a tough sell. We will have to see how it goes. But my biggest concern is
But Jason, before you go further, hold on, Jason, before you go further, we're not gonna talk about Omni now. We're gonna wait till our guest speaker comes in and talk about that.
She's likely to answer
So
all
she's
those
gonna
questions.
answer all of these questions. I'm sorry to interrupt.
okay.
everyone.
But I've been seeing signage regarding Atlanta ticket, city ticket. Joe Torres from ABC7 had a question regarding peak fares on Metro North, and I had to tag Sarah Meyer. but the MTA has to do an improvement in communicating this with the press, because apparently there's a miscommunication with those members of the press that use our transit system.
We'll raise that
That-
issue, Jason.
They are seeing the signage and they are kind of confused.
All right, thank you. We'll raise
You're
that issue.
welcome.
Thank you. Mr. X?
Would be nice if the schedules were available at the station.
Yeah.
Which I mentioned to, former Warner Railroad President Philip May, and I mentioned to him at the most recent interview with us, I thought, schedules need to be available at all stations. I should have a log to the website.
You mean paper schedules?
Yes.
Yeah, even Amtrak has done away with those.
Yeah.
Everybody's using, online things now.
That's the thing. You can't get access to a computer. How are you supposed to view the schedule on the web? How are you supposed to log onto it?
On your phone.
You don't have that either. What are you supposed to do?
Look at the,
The content.
then you look, when you get to the station, they should have the electronic signs.
That's what I'm saying. I should have to wait time while the station, I should get time to plan ahead before I leave point A and for point B.
In point A, like your home, where you might have a computer,
Wherever I'm from, their origin.
you can always call, make a phone call too.
Yes, I'll be put on hold, which I don't like. It's just for it.
It's a point that's been raised, and we actually raised it when they came to talk to us about maps and about schedules, because it's been an issue that several people have raised with us, including members, about paper schedules.
Because
People like them, and people use them. I actually had asked to have the March 2020 schedule removed from local stations.
Also, I was told that that station, the paper schedule, both sizes, due to the pandemic. What does the pandemic have to do with the schedule? Schedule us to make these for the plan ahead. We have them with us. Years ago, I stated on both levels, keep the bigger schedules, this is small schedules, because they have contain more information compared to the smaller schedules, which generally don't help. They could save money by just using the bigger schedule only, but apparently, as usual, nobody was listening when I spoke. I've spoken to the MTA, was nothing but money going away.
A lot of people have raised what you're raising, but in defense of the electronic schedules, it takes quite a while to print new schedules and get them distributed. You can't believe how often I check like one of the Metro North apps, and it shows new timetable because something was updated like 3 days ago or 4 days ago. You couldn't actually keep paper schedules on that schedule.
It allows for more flexibility.
It absolutely does. So if there's like last minute changes, the paper schedule's not gonna tell you that. The electronic schedule does.
They need to give us a device that does, these schedules. I can tell them, we'll use a phone. No, you give me the phone and I'll walk around.
Got it.
Stuart? Just a sub-point about communication. So it's a nice poster, and the other one that was there is a nice poster. And I see the link for the QR reader.
Yep.
So we, here as the group, and the guests too, are pretty savvy when it comes to fares and schedules, but even the presentation was a little confusing. Someone clicked that link. Are they gonna get the same type of information in our presentation, or other information about how to follow up? You know what I'm saying? The poster is nice, but it's not
We'll
quite.
tell you right now.
The website's pretty clunky.
We're gonna try the QR and
Yeah,
tell you
meaning,
what you
because
can.
what made me think of this is what Mr. X was talking about. If there was something new, they used to give out brochures that would talk about a new initiative. When MetroCard was launched, they talked about it and how to use the card. Not everybody uses a phone. On my new phone, I don't even have the QR reader app, but I guess if I took a photo, it would link to something, but,
Yeah.
Just go to mt.info/save.
but I think as a group, we need to
It
reiterate
takes you to how to save money, more affordable, more flexible, more fair.
It's a clunky
But
website.
But I think people
It's
need.
all text,
I
it's
think-
no picture.
Yeah, I think people need better information, and I think we should, as a group, be touting that if they're rolling this out and they want it to be successful, it's how they're gonna promote this. If they're relying on these methods, then they have to link to something that's useful.
I used the reader, right?
Okay.
It says, for Metro North and Long Island Railroad, it says,
Yeah.
the cost of your ride will depend on your trip. Use the fare calculator to build, use the fare, build into our schedule, to look up, to see your fare.
It's just like what I was saying earlier.
Was your hand up?
Yeah, like, something I think we should
Chris.
inquire about in terms of the 20 trip tickets are not available from vending machines, and someone inquired on Twitter about it, and they said because, like, 2 parts of the stock, because, like what Patrick O'Hara of Lone Railroad today suggested, is that you, like, they currently for receipt, if you buy multiple tickets on machines, you have multi-part receipts. What he suggested is you could have 1 10 tickets, 1 10 ticket connected to each other, you can buy it from the machine. I think we should inquire about that.
No, they're only on e-tick.
Yeah, I know, I'm saying, they
But that's
should.
what they said from the very beginning, only on e-tick.
Oh, I know, I'm saying there's likely a way within their machines that they can get it to work.
They want people to use e-ticks. They're gonna get rid of all printed tickets. They've already
That's
told
the
us
direction
that.
they're going.
So they're, I know.
That
And at
saves
least-
money,
And at least this information should tell you that we're moving in that direction.
Yeah.
Not to what they're giving you now.
Yeah.
And how do you buy e-tickets if you don't have a credit or debit card?
I don't know, because I do, so that's how I've done it.
No, but I'm just thinking about when we talk about cashless and
Right.
discriminating against people or, older people or people who are just not comfortable putting information. That's something you need to.
Well, if you're buying a ticket on a train as a senior, you pay with cash, or with however you pay.
Cash.
That's not an e-ticket train.
No, but if you went to a commuter window, like you give them the money and they email you your ticket package.
I wonder if that would make some sense. If you don't want to have your,
If you don't want,
anywhere,
you don't want pay with a credit or don't have a credit card.
pay with cash and then have them email you the,
One day you'll be able to do it with your Omni card.
And that's gonna be a little easier.
yeah, that'll be great. So Chris and then Mr. X.
No, to answer your question, because I just looked at it, it does show what the half fare price does, and Lisa, you did answer the piece of the question of it. So it will, whatever that monthly is, for them, it will go whatever that percentage is half fare. Because when I looked at the monthly here, half fare, like if I'm going all the way to the other end, the Montauk, they're showing 500, but then whatever's half of it, it will just go from there.
Even if you're going to the near end of Montauk.
Yeah, yeah. That'll be an extra $25 for you, Andrew.
Mr. X?
My question, similar to hers, is, are you supposed to get an e-ticket if you don't have a computer or a phone? Okay, we're not Maxwell Smart. Okay, this is a Get Smart. Well, that's H86. So you need to, the powers that be need to iron out those wrinkles. Okay, because we're not living in the Get Smart area. We're not using our footwear or phone. Okay, if you don't have a computer or phone, how the hell are you supposed to get the e-ticket?
I don't know that there is a way, to be quite honest. I think they want to move you in that direction.
How is that, the powers that be want to use the e-ticket, they need to tell us how we should get it, if we don't have a computer or phone.
The thing is that they have said that there will be other options besides e-tickets. I think haven't been as transparent in terms of commuter rail fares, but I think they've said that they're not forcing everyone to e-tickets. They want to encourage people to use it, but there will be another option.
Well, that's something that we can ask our speaker today, which we're rapidly approaching the time for. So, not see any.
Well, you can't see because it's.
No, if we
Okay,
could
then
get
stop
this off
share,
the
yep.
screen, maybe then.
Right.
Oh, okay,
Put
let's
it back
see if
on.
we have any ready.
Oh,
So, here's our speaker
Okay.
present.
So Andrew, I have a question.
Okay.
part of your, report. Okay, so, I'm very happy to hear that the, new manager and the mayor are deploying police from the communities, to patrol stations. We had with prior guests and prior administrations questions about how they're deploying them. I don't see the same things you're seeing on the lines that I'm writing on now.
I don't see it every day.
Yesterday, I was in Chelsea, and there are actually two police officers on the 23rd Street station just standing around near an exit.
7th Avenue or 8th Avenue?
It was on the 8th Avenue, on the C&E local. But what I'm saying is, we support this as a group, but I think we have to be on record as saying that this can't be Manhattan-centric. I'm not seeing this on the F train in Brooklyn. I'm not seeing this on the Brighton line in Brooklyn. I'm not seeing this on the train or on the station at all. In Manhattan, it's different. But even at Fulton Street in the last 2 weeks, with people that are well-dressed and people that are not well-dressed, there's a proliferation of people just lighting cigarettes and smoking.
I know.
There are no police.
I know that it's in the other boroughs too, because people have texted me and said, wow, I just saw police on so-and-so in the Bronx. So, but I think it's a great point you raised, and I think one of our goals will be to get our new transit police chief, Jason Wilcox, to come and speak with us.
You know, if they can't share specifics, but certainly people are traveling throughout the 24-hour period.
Absolutely.
It needs to be a non-Manhattan-centric deployment.
And actually, I've seen them riding the train, so it's like for a good deal of a line even.
And I haven't seen that.
I heard from one of our speakers, or one of our guests who had to drop off, but, the Eagle team was spotted in Staten Island yesterday.
Oh, no, I haven't seen them in over
Handing
3 years.
Handing out tickets,
Buses?
buses.
They used to be on the SBS crosstowns. Not for 3 years have I seen them.
Well, they were on Staten Island yesterday.
Wow.
There you go.
Only one borough at a time.
What am I'm thinking the S-79,
60, or no, what, I can tell you, I don't know.
because the 79 is the only SBS bus.
It wasn't an SBS.
No, I'm just,
It was not an SBS. It was the S-40, the 315 bus. On the S-40 through the back door. The Eagle team started giving them $100 summonses.
Ooh.
I'm glad to see that they're unpredictable. That's what the Eagle team should be.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see more of them. Let's see if
Amy
our
will be
speaker
on,
is
she'll be
present.
on in a couple of minutes.
Still a couple of minutes.
She can say a little extra as needed.
Okay. By the way, I want everyone to know that the reason I didn't give you a board briefing is because the board is meeting later this month, next week, for committee meetings on Tuesday, and full board is on Thursday,
Which is why we're meeting today.
which is why we're meeting today as opposed to the fourth Thursday of the month, where we normally meet.
Andrew, this will give us a few minutes. I can mention Mass Force is also next Wednesday, if it's okay.
Like to?
Yeah, because I will say this, right now, Mass Force it's going on this coming Wednesday. There are still a lot of open slots in the other 4 boroughs right now. Staten Island still has an opening in the morning rush right now, and I don't understand why there's only 1 in the morning for them, because they do St. George. But Brooklyn is Brooklyn and Coney Island got full. Atlantic still has some openings, but there is some concerns as Stuart said earlier, and I agree with him, with Manhattan has the very low numbers. So there is a concern, because Times Square, Grand Central, and 168 have the lowest numbers, and it's twice.
Those numbers of what?
People are volunteering for Mass Force, and I'm glad you said at least, because I'm blanking, sorry. But Bronx is starting to wake up a little bit, but Queens is getting high numbers. But we do need a lot of us to go out and try to do Mass Force. Yes, they're during the morning rush and the evening rush, but if we can pass the word out to people, we can try to do it. So it's next week on the 23rd.
Okay, thank you for that announcement.
Mm-hmm. And I know, she just came in?
No, that's Jason.
We're gonna charge him a phone.
Yeah.
So
Karen?
I'm looking online, and it says that transit benefit cards are not accepted with e-tickets. Makes no sense to me. So it's only credit cards and debit cards.
So, in the past, I've had a, commuter check, a transit benefit card. If you get it in the form of a credit card, then you can use it that way. You can use it on even the dreaded ferry system.
Thank you, Lisa.
Or the Blasio there.
Thank you.
I like Lisa's better. Sorry, Andrew. Hers is very, very tasty.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that Amy will be joining us at any moment, so, Jason, I spoke about the Eagle team yesterday. I don't know if you had an update to give.
Yes. Thank you, Lisa, about that. Yesterday, for the first time, I saw the Eagle team yesterday at St. George Terminal, and they were very spurs at first, because oftentimes the drivers from the ATU Local 726, they opened the back door for passengers to board the bus. So they did it as usual, and then the Eagle team came and approached a group of, I will say, between 20 and 30 passengers and told them to get off the bus. Very simple. And I was told by one of them that they gave him a summon of $100.
They were told to get on the
Because he
bus.
failed, yes, because he failed to pay the fare.
Being set up, basically.
Now, who told them to get on the bus? Was it fellow riders that did that, who opened the rear door?
Who opened the rear door, Jason? Was it,
The bus driver. So how it works, guys, is that the ATU Local 726, according to what was informed while I made a phone call to the union office, is that the union over there in Staten Island, they do things behind the scenes with the MTA. And that sounded very strange to me. So recently, I've been seeing bus drivers letting in passengers without masks and without paying the fare. So I've been submitting complaints via the online form, and surprisingly, I saw the NYPD and the Eagle team. And I was very surprised to see them in Staten Island. Well, are we seeing them more often? That's the question. And I'll be down there again tomorrow.
all right,
And
let's
I'll keep you guys posted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your timing is perfect.
You're welcome.
because Amy has joined us.
Okay. Greetings, Amy.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm sorry to be a few minutes late. Just was honestly tweaking the PowerPoint to be as current as possible. Am I able to, first, do we need to do any introductions?
We'll introduce you, Amy Lyndon, acting lead of the MTA Fare Payment Program. Wonderful to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm happy to be with you. I know the last time, I don't know if it was, I don't remember, I'm sorry if it was Al or Alan Wayne presented to you really over a year ago. So I'm gonna start with a very quick recap of what you last heard from there, even though I know you're following everything, both at board meetings and in the news, et cetera, and you're out there writing. But I thought I'd start there and then focus in on what's happening in 2022 and a bit more sort of explanation of the next big thing coming, which is best fare or fare capping. So with that, I can just share my screen, right?
You should be able to just share it, yep.
Okay, hopefully I'm sharing the right thing. It looks like I am. Hold shift to select. All right, so you should see it it says Omni new fare payment system update.
Yep.
Okay. First of all, I want to say if anyone wants to ask questions along the way, please feel free. I don't know if you have a process when someone's presenting, does Lisa or somebody else call on names, or you just speak up, whichever is fine with me. But also it's a relatively short presentation because I wanted to make sure I allowed time for Q&A with you all. Okay.
Great, we'll let you get through it.
Yeah, well, so why don't we let you get through it, and then we'll call on, we'll do the calling on questions. If you could maximize your, slides.
Yeah, I could go to slideshow. I'm just wondering if I'll lose, I just want to make sure I can see you all. Setup show. I think that's it. Nope, that's not it. Hold on, cancel. There's a slideshow. I just have to find it. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to slideshow.
Current slide. There you go.
Okay, now it seems big, but hopefully you can see everything. All right, greetings. So the last time, not that we met, it says last time we met, but in October 2020, you might recall that the pandemic was, we were 6 to 7 months into the pandemic. It didn't technically start in March, but that's when we were all sent home. And also that's when you last heard from our office, the program management office. And at that time, and the column on the right actually has text from a slide that you were shown at the time, there were some important items we called out. So for instance, with COVID, we refer to Omni as a contactless system and cards with chips and other like mobile devices that have chips in them as contactless. And at the time, took on new meaning from a health and safety perspective, and merchants and Visa, MasterCard, et cetera, started referring to touchless because they were trying to focus on, and it was true, that people didn't want to touch anything and basically pick up COVID. And so Omni, at the time, we were still rolling out the validators itself, took on new meaning as a contactless system, because it actually is touchless. You don't literally have to touch the validator, the card reader, with your necessarily with your card or phone. You can use what's in your hand and wave it over or tap it, but you're not touching the MTA device. So the point here is that since then, our customers have shown us that they like touchless, and Omni usage just has continued to grow throughout the pandemic, as ridership had already hit its lowest peak back in April 2020 and has continued to grow. But even through the Omicron spike, it continued to grow, and system-wide we're at about 25% of usage. So all riders, the 25% represents all riders across bus, subway, including Staten Island Railway, are using Omni and not MetroCard or cash on bus. It varies by service mode, by subway and bus, but that's a very high share, given that we, basically only offer pay per ride within Omni right now. At the time, back in, again, October 2020, the subway, had a historic nightly shutdown from 1 to 5. It ultimately got reduced to 2 to 4. But of course, we're back to 24/7 at this point. Ridership had started to climb again since that low point in April 2020. And actually, as some folks, including ourselves, have returned to the office, and others are getting out more, out and about, and going about their business, whether it's commuting or errands or entertainment or travel for other reasons. The growth of MTA ridership has continued, and Omni usage has continued as well. And back in mid-November, and I reported this to the board, we had hit 1 million daily taps. It then fluctuated because Omicron was beginning to really take its toll at that point, and we got low again to 600,000 or 700,000 on a weekday. And then it started climbing again as Omicron started to wane the impacts of it, at least on New York City. And we climbed up again. We've now had several more days with 1 million taps, including yesterday. We had over 1 million taps given on a weekday. Riders, now at the time in October 2020, we weren't done installing all the Omni validators on the buses and the subway. At the subway, we had covered 433 stations, and only a short month and a half later, we covered all 400. We finished deployment at all 472 stations, and also Staten Island Railway. And at the time, we had 3 boroughs covered in terms of all the buses. And of course, in December 2020, we finished adding in Queens and Brooklyn. So all bus routes were covered, including all bus service modes. When the pandemic started, and again, the system was not fully enabled with all validators, we were at about 4.4% Omni share across, again, the modes of payment, MetroCard, Cash on Bus, and Omni. And during 2020, as we continued to put in more validators, the Omni share of payments kept growing and more than doubled just in 2020 alone. And then once the entire system had validators and people could complete any transfer that existed, because up until then you couldn't necessarily complete all the transfers that were eligible for free transfers in the system, then the usage of Omni and the numbers really started climbing. And again, we reported to the board, we were at about 25%. We're definitely over 25% at this point in February. Digital wallet share may not stand out as like, why am I pointing this out? And it has dropped since Omni first started. It had been at 82%, but these numbers are significantly higher than any other transit system in the world. London, which introduced contactless several years before MTA, still is, for years, they only saw 15% digital wallet share, people using their phones versus a physical card, but they've grown to 20%. But for some reason in New York, and it's just sort of a factoid that's of interest, because to the extent we want to utilize the fact people are using their phones and message to them, and think about, what opportunities there are because people are using their phones. It's just good to know, like, how many people are using their phones with Omni. And most probably the reason for that is, we don't know necessarily from customer research yet, but people are walking around with their phones in their hand, and that's the beauty of Omni. You use what's in your hand, and you just keep your movement going through the turnstile or the gate. Let me stop there and see if anyone has any questions, or I'll go to the next slide.
The next one.
Go to the next slide.
Okay. All right. Now, the next 2 slides you'll recognize from the Capital Program Committee meeting in March. And I just want to set the stage for 2022, as well as for the first new thing coming, Best Fare, in 2022, by just repeating these slides. So for those of you who did listen in on the CPC, I recognize some of you from that in January. I apologize for the repeat, but again, it's actually exciting news, how transformative 2022 is going to be for our NYCT riders. I've already mentioned how many are already using Omni to pay their fares in the system. But we're also going to be introducing, so those are full fare. That doesn't mean they are full fare customers, but that's for full fare customers today. That's what's being utilized in Omni. We do have a soft launch with 70 reduced fare customers ongoing to get feedback from them on the reduced fare customer experience. And there'll be more coming in terms of enabling our reduced fare customers to utilize Omni later this year. And that's coming after Best Fare. So the next thing up is the weekly fare cap coming in a couple of weeks. And as I said, I have a couple of slides that will focus on that. But we will begin to enable the software and equipment that will support the use of Omni as a payment method for paratransit. So this isn't where we're putting validators on the AAR vehicles. What we're doing is making available to our paratransit customers the ability to use the Omni account and their AAR ID card as a payment method instead of cash for their AAR ride. So it's when they book their ride, if they want to choose to use Omni, they can, and it's all online. And then when they board the vehicle, they don't have to come up with anything other than what the current process is with their AAR ID card, confirm they are the one who booked. And this includes for their attendants. And if they choose in that moment to not use Omni and to still use cash, they can also do that. So again, we're giving choice to the paratransit customer with an optional payment method utilizing Omni, but they don't have to. The AAR ID card, which currently is MetroCard based, in the future will be utilizing the same card as the new Omni card is made with. So the AAR ID card will simply be a personalized Omni card at that point. And because it is the same card, that is part of what gives us the opportunity to give more choices to our paratransit customers. That AAR ID card, if they want to use it to ride on the subway or bus, whether it's certain benefits that already exist or new kinds of features we can offer, allows them to do that with the same card. And they wouldn't have to get a second Omni card that has other rider privileges on it, including the fact that if they want to load the Omni card with value in order to ride the subway or bus, they could, including at the retail network. So part of what we're achieving here is beginning to give more and more parity across the rider classes. We'll also be introducing the reduced fare card. Again, it's the Omni card, but it would be for reduced fare customers who are verified as reduced fare customers, are existing or new ones who join our system, and would give them their reduced fare discount by utilizing that card. So again, it's an Omni card, but it's associated with the reduced fare eligibility of the card holder. We'll also be initially introducing service on the mobile sales vans that currently go around on a scheduled basis to various specified locations, including senior centers, to support them not just with MetroCard now, but also with their Omni card. And in September, when we have a software release that supports the cash or money room in Queens at NYCT, then we'll be able to have Omni sales on those vans as well. And during the transition away from MetroCard, the vans will support both MetroCard customers and OmniCard customers, both full fare and reduced fare until late 2023. The vending machines, the new configurable vending machines, it's just a name, CVM, configurable vending machine, but it's the new Omni vending machine. We will start to roll those out in stations in October. The software will be finished by the end of September and released into production. And you will physically start to see machines in October because we have a lot of stations and a lot of machines, and we have to move out some of the MetroCard machines in order to put in the new ones. It'll take us 13 months to do that. So October through the following October, 2023, we will be deploying the new vending machines to all stations. Now, during that time, MetroCard machines will come out of the stations. However, not all of them, because it's not a one-for-one replacement. So we will remove those that have to move in order to put in the new machines, but those that do not have to move, about 600, will still remain in the station until we're done. And then after MetroCard is no longer used as a fare payment method, we'll then take out the rest of the MetroCard machines. With the deployment of the new vending machines, you will see the Omni single ride ticket. No real change from the single ride ticket today with MetroCard, where it's a different card stock. It's good for 2 hours, et cetera. You'll just see a new single ride ticket that happens to have a chip in it, similar to the Omni card, but it's a different card stock. And again, we'll have the same business rules around it, supporting customer use of that single ride ticket. So that's when that will be introduced in the machine. Now, I have to say, remember, the single ride ticket costs $3. If you just tap and go, if you have it with your own bank card or your mobile device, or if you have an Omni card, it's only $275. So, you know, the rationale to providing a single ride ticket is lessened by the ability of people to use what they already have to tap and go at Omni validators. But nevertheless, we'll support the customer population that needs that single ride ticket still. And then finally, there'll be other expanded payment features such as the weekly best fare that we'll talk about shortly in more detail. Also, ultimately, you'll be able to use, if you want, your own bank account. It's referred to sometimes as ACH. To fund your Omni card. So let's say you have an Omni card and you choose to register for an Omni account. So you can self-manage your card in that account. You could either fund that card by going to the retail network with cash and load value into your card account. You could also online put in a credit or debit or prepaid card as a funding method to load value, transit value to your Omni card. Or you could link your Omni account, link your bank account securely to your Omni account, and you could move monies from your bank account into your Omni account to fund your transit rides. So we've actually built that. I have a few things I need to do to enable that for customers, but you will be able to do that and not have to use your bank card in order to fund an Omni card. So there'll be several. What I'm trying to say is we're giving customers as many options as we can, both how to pay the fare and also how to fund their Omni card if they choose to use an Omni card. Let me stop there and see if you have questions. Again, I'm going to focus in a little more on schedule and then best fare.
So I see that we do have some questions, but maybe some of these questions will be answered by the rest of your presentation, do you think?
I don't know, but I think so. I'm going to get into more details on these, some of them.
Why don't we let you get
One
through?
quick thing, because this
There's-
is on something she
But
just gave.
there's 6 people who have one quick question. So she's got 4 more slides that may.
Let's go through the.
Can we
fourth
just
slide.
wait till we see
Let's get through, let's get through your presentation and see if it answers any of these questions.
Yeah.
And then let's get to the questions.
Okay.
And Andrew,
Yeah, and I'm available to answer the questions. I'm not going to run out at 1:30. Okay. So again, this was shown in a different context in January with the board, Capital Program Committee, but I wanted to focus in on what's ahead of us here. So this is a snapshot of February 2022. Now, I meant to change the slide. It should say 2022 schedule. The reason the word enablement's there, I'm trying to make the point that what our job is with the Omni team is making the functionality available through the software and the hardware. And then the operations who are responsible, such as paratransit or reduced fare, you know, they're doing the planning and they'll do the implementation of the rollouts. So for instance, there is the paratransit office working with the reduced fare office folks to produce the new Omni AAR ID cards once we've made available the equipment and the software. So the schedule you see here is really from the Omni project perspective. This is when the functionality is available in the system. So we will be done installing equipment and making the software available to support the operations at the end of April. But then there's training that has to take place with paratransit staff and the reduced fare office who physically will produce the cards. And then they will have a rollout plan, and they're the ones who can best speak to what the rollout timetable is for the new AAR ID card. Same for reduced fare, and it's really the same staff and same equipment and software. That's all in the same software release at the end of April, and the same equipment installations that will occur in April. But Omni itself will be enabled to support our paratransit and reduced fare customers and the rollout done by those operations over the course of May and going forward. As already mentioned, our configurable vending machines, the software finishes at the end of September, and the first machines will go in in October. There's work going on now with New York City Transit and MTA to finalize what the deployment plan is in terms of which stations first and which boroughs and lines between October 2022 and October 2023. And then, as I mentioned, the mobile sales vans, while they will be able to provide some service support starting in May with the software we put out in April, the ability to do any Omni related sales for full fare and reduced fare customers won't occur until September. That sales software for the vans is in the same software package as the vending machines. So that's a very high level schedule. There's obviously transition plans for our customers in each of these groups being developed, being finalized. That isn't part of, in and of itself, the hardware and software schedule, but I just wanted to give the context. And there are other programs not called out here, such as the PASS programs, a lot of PASS programs, students, retirees, interns, employees, big group. Actually, students is really the biggest group. And those programs will roll out in conjunction with their program schedules. Students being the easy one, that's a semester-based program. And the City Department of Ed has to get ready to work with Omni. There's some IT work to do. So we don't expect to see any of that in 2022, but in 2023, all these past programs you'll see all of them come out. All right, I'm going to move to best fare now. And as I said, I'll be happy to answer questions when we're done. So you may have seen in the system, I think our chairman and Sarah Meyer held a press conference. So what's today, Thursday, just this past Tuesday, maybe, where these beautiful digital ads, which were designed in-house, and this is only a sampling of them, there's many more, beginning to promote and get our customers excited about the new fare capping feature. It's a fare pilot because it's not part of the permanent fare policy, as you know. It hasn't been through the proper processes yet, but we get to pilot it and get customer feedback on it. And it's the Omni technology that will enable this to be available to our customers. So I just wanted to display some of the ads. Now, one of the things you'll see, especially with the middle one, 13 is your lucky number, is the messaging to customers is that it's 12 paid Omni trips, and then you start to get your free rides under the weekly fare cap. And that is the simplest way to explain it, and I'll show you the math of that. But the weekly fare cap itself is, I know this is a complicated slide, so bear with me. The weekly fare cap itself is $1 fare cap. This slide focuses on the full fare numbers. There is a reduced fare weekly fare cap as well. So when the reduced fare cards start to roll out to our existing customers and new reduced fare customers, they will also absolutely get the benefit of the weekly fare cap, and also with 12 rides paid, with the 13th ride free. So first of all, there are a couple really key points to keep in mind. The weekly fare cap is Monday through Sunday, and the first capping period will start Monday, February 28th. Our chairman's already announced that. And what I mean is at midnight, Sunday into Monday, that's the start of the fare capping period. So no taps on Sunday, but the taps, whenever your first tap is on Monday, begins the accumulation of taps towards hitting that fare cap. And then the following Sunday is when it would reset after finishing the week out, Monday through Sunday. Then the following Monday, you start again. The next thing is, it absolutely has to be with the same payment device. So either the same bank card or bank card in a mobile phone or watch, or your same Omni card. Fare capping is on the card or the payment device. It's not on you. So we only know what you present. We don't know who's presenting it to the Omni validator. And the reason that's important to understand is, let's say one day you use a credit card to tap, and the next day you use an Omni card to tap, you are going to have then two different fare caps happening at the same week because you've presented two different payment devices. So the fare cap is against the exact same payment device for the week. The other thing about that is if you have a card, a bank card of any kind, provisioned to your phone, so you're using Apple Pay or Google Pay, when you do that, it gives us a different number than the number that's on the front of your bank card. And it's called the DPAN, but it's a device account number as opposed to that 16-digit or 15-digit number you see on the front of your bank card. Each time, if you happen to delete the card from your phone and put it back in, it actually gives you a different account number as if it's two different cards. So we can only do the fare capping against a single number. So if you're using Apple Pay or Google Pay, you want to keep using, you don't want to pull that card from your digital wallet and put it back in. So when we say the same, we mean the exact same payment media you started with is what you have to use in order to, accumulate against a single fare cap. Next is the fare cap itself. It's $33 for the full fare customer. And this is a fare cap for the regular bus or local bus service or subway ride. And I include Staten Island Railway in that. So if you have a free transfer, you're tapping, that's a free transfer, but that tap, you didn't pay anything. It doesn't count towards the ride you need to hit the fare cap. If you're using pass back because you've brought a friend, your spouse, your partner, a grandchild, a child with you to ride, and you're using your same payment media, let's say a bank card or Omni card, to pay for them, the first tap will count towards your fare cap, but the second tap or third or fourth tap, if you have up to 4 in your group, does not count towards the fare cap. You're paying for those rides, but they don't count towards the fare cap because the fare cap is to give you, one person, an individual, the benefit of riding more frequently. And then finally, this is not a fare cap for the express bus service. That's a different fare, as you know, $6.75. And there's other considerations about what other kinds of features we can do, whether for express bus or other kinds of benefits we can bring. But this pilot is specifically for the local bus or subway rider at this time. And then finally, again, if you multiply 12 times $2.75, you get $33. And that is why our messaging is that you take 12 rides and then you get the 13th free. So the illustration down here just says, okay, you're riding, and if we're not counting down here your free transfer taps or your pass back taps or your express bus rides, we're just showing how you accumulate, with $2.75 per paid trip towards the $33 cap. So we're showing down here, the first tap you paid $2.75. Your second tap, you paid $2.75, and now you have $5.50 accumulated towards that $33 cap. So we keep tapping, and after 12 taps that do count towards the cap, you hit $33. That's it. We're not charging you anymore, and we're not accumulating anymore, and you have free rides until the end of the week. And I'm sorry, I have to move my slide. Whoops. So I can see what's on the rate. I think it just says ride free. And then it also shows that come that Sunday night into Monday, the weekly cap period starts again. So let me stop there. That's what I got on fare capping, and I want to make sure it's understood and see if you have any concerns with or questions about how we're messaging it to customers and what you think would be helpful for customers to understand. I'm sorry, there's one other thing that before we get to questions, not on this slide. It's automatic. You do not have to register for an Omni account. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is tap and tap and tap, and that fare cap is happening in the background automatically. It's built in, And we don't require, you can remain anonymous. You don't have to register for an Omni account if you don't want to. Obviously, the Omni account, it will let you see what's happening with the fare cap for any payment method you've put into your Omni account. But otherwise, it's automatic. You just tap and go and you will get the benefit of the fare cap. All right, I'm done. I think my last slide is just a thank you. So I'm happy to take questions.
Okay, great, thank you. Andrew?
Sure. Thanks for this, Amy. We all love this. There's just one thing that sort of stood out, and I understand why the situation is this, but it's a shame, and that is the new fare options and the fare capping is going to start at the end of February, but the machines to let the masses buy the cards won't be available until October. I understand there's programming issues and moving out MetroCard machines and all of that, but that means, I know some folks that are having difficulty finding Omni cards at various stores where they were supposed to be available. So without the machines, that's not gonna make it look as though as many people are taking advantage of the new discounts as could be if there were machines in the stations already. That's just an observation.
Okay, and yeah, I appreciate that. The retail network, if I may comment, first of all, it's got its challenges. It was, intended to be a 12-month rollout of it, and it is growing. We have over 4,000 cards that have been sold at over, I think, 500 stores as of a couple days ago. And we're working with our vendor Cubic and their subcontractor Incom, who manages the card program and the retailers, to try and improve to an acceptable level the availability of the cards at the retailers and a consistent customer experience. They're having some historical issues due to the pandemic with employee retainage of employees, recruiting employees, and turnover. But we all want the retail network, to be what it's promised to be, which is a very robust. They do have 4,000 retailers enabled. But again, there are issues with finding the cards, and but that is continuing to improve. But I hear what you're saying in terms of, it's not where it needs to be in terms of those who, especially cash reliant customers who would only have the option of the retail network to find an Omni card. So we're certainly looking internally at how to boost options for finding Omni cards, getting Omni cards out to people who want to buy them during this interim period while the retail network continues to improve. And we will do that. So I hear you. We're focused on trying to get that retail network even better, faster
I
than.
appreciate that. But I also noticed that these fare options, these new incentives are saying for 4 months, and of course, it's more than 4 months till October when the machines are available. So just so you don't think that nobody, or not as many people are taking advantage, it might be because they don't have the card.
Yeah, they don't have the
Thank
card,
you.
but again, and I assume you mean those who prefer to use the card or need to use the card, because there is the option. And I understand we have unbanked and underbanked customers, don't get me wrong, but there is the option for those who are interested and want to, and we encourage it, to use their bank card or their bank card provisioned in the phone. That's all.
Thanks. Okay, Chris?
Yes. Amy, it's good to finally see you. As I wear 2 hats, as Actors Chair Technology Information and one that tests for Omni. I'm glad to see that spend pay for $33 is here. There is a lot of concern, and I'm going to say there is a lot of confusion, not with MTA, it's our press people that, it's nice to hear them talking about this, but it's going to be confusing them. I love this plan. In my book, this is a brilliant move to give people an option to get into the subway. The other part of the question I just want to know is this going to be helpful for reduced fare in the future?
Yes, there is a weekly fare cap we've built along with the full fare cap. And it's $16.20 because that divides evenly into 12 rides. As you know, the 7-day pass, unlimited ride pass and Metro card for the reduced fare customer is $16.50. But in order to make it more convenient, smoother, and easier to explain to customers, because it really is all about the customer, we've tweaked the value of the weekly fare cap for the reduced fare customer. And that's what I was saying earlier, that when reduced fare cards and the marketing to reduced fare customers starts happening after the software is enabled in April, those customers who reduced fare customers who start to use Omni with either their own bank card or with a reduced fare Omni card will be able to also benefit from the weekly fare cap, and theirs will be $16.20. Again, it'll be 12 rides, 12 paid rides. Your 13th is free.
And how about the monthly? Because a lot of the people that they do use the monthly for the reduced, for people with disability and seniors, they do budget as a monthly because it is linked to their social security link. We're still gonna have that monthly option too?
Well,
For the
do you mean a
reduced fare?
monthly unlimited ride?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's being discussed internally, how it's a benefit, you know, an unlimited ride. And as you can see from the weekly fare cap, it can take the form of, the benefit can take the form of the continuation of the unlimited ride pass, or it can take the form of best fare, the way the chairman has you know, set this one up for all our customers. So the monthly isn't going away. Let me be clear about that. We haven't introduced any monthly into Omni yet. And you know, when it's going to be introduced in Omni is under discussion. But to be very clear, it's available obviously to those who still use MetroCard. So the monthly isn't going away and it's still available in MetroCard. And then we just haven't scheduled yet when it would be introduced in Omni. Is that helpful? I hope.
It does, and I'm glad you said that. Just please keep us informed on both hats.
Yep, understood.
Thank
Appreciate it. I just want to ask, you said the press is confused. I wasn't sure what you were referring to. Our press is confused.
No, it's not here in the MTA. It's the outside press people. They're just mixing up news information, and the way it's going right now, I will say there's some, not all news stations, and I'm trying to say, it's like one or two news stations that are making a little mix up with the information that you have here. Because this PowerPoint you have here, out here right now, makes perfect sense, and I actually love it.
Great.
And
I have to give credit to.
Accessibility.
I have to give credit, thank you, someone on the team who really came up with the idea for how to display. And then this morning we tweaked it to put in the middle information. So it was really clear to folks what counts and what doesn't. You know, we like to say it's automatic. You don't have to worry and it's easy, but it's your money. So we understand, you really want to understand how this benefit works. So as best we can explain it and message it, I want to be able to do that. So I appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Not a problem, Amy, and I hope to see you in the future.
Amy, thank you. Would you mind unsharing your screen just so that people can like to see each other as well?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Deborah has had her hand up for a long time.
Yes. Hi, Deborah.
Hello, Amy. I'm also the an Omni tester too for the half fair. And I
Oh, thank you for participating. Great.
You're welcome. I'm enjoying this. And I'm also going to be doing it for accessory. Now, please understand what I'm asking. I'm going to be as precise to the point.
Okay.
All right. I understand that, you know, I have money either on a debit card to pay or set up an Omni account. I also know what has to be done for the accessory. But I want to ask, does each of the computers, like what you, so say they combined my Omni account with the half fare money and my accessory. So I do 4 rides on accessory and I do 10 rides on the buses because I have to, because in between, or even have to use a train at an accessible station. How are they going to calculate the, if I get the discounts? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought it up. It makes me think we left something off the last slide, which is, you know, I made the point, it's, you know, you got to use the same card. It's also the same service. So by service in this case, I mean local bus and subway. So paratransit itself which is a full fare, fare, isn't part of this weekly fare cap pilot. So any rides you take, other than if you have those 4 or 8, I forgot what they're called, zero fare rides for AAR, if you're paying for bus and train, that'll count towards a fare cap, but not the paratransit rides.
Oh, I just want to clarify, the card that we also get is it's a Metro card at the moment, okay? And it says if you have a PCA or not. That's because something could happen, like your accessory is supposed to pick you up. You know, there was an accident and the driver can't get to you, and they say, and you say, all right, I think I can get home because it's nearby. I can put my Metro card with my PCA in the bus so I can get back home. It's for 4 emergency rides. It's not, you know, you don't abuse that. I just want to say that also, because I want everyone to understand that you have to use it carefully and wisely. I just also want to thank for the Metro card half fare mobile sales. I want to thank Reggie Barron and his staff, because whenever we've had issues, no, I'm not complaining about, but when you have issues, because sometimes the auto gate eats your card or the bus eats your card and messes it up. And when you call them and tell them what has happened, first of all, I appreciate how they tried to keep me calm, because it was like,
Deborah, can you wrap up, please? We
I'm
have other
rapping. I'm rapping.
Good.
I'm rapping. So I want them to be thanked, because it's very important how they work with us people with disabilities. And please tell bus drivers to clean those readers correctly. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. That's enough, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you. Jason, go ahead.
Yes. Amy, you forgot to mention is Omni time. That's a tagline.
Listen,
That's a tagline that our friend Al uses all the time.
Right.
A couple of questions that I have, Amy. One, I have the physical Omni card that I purchased at 7-Eleven at 3rd Avenue, 28th Street, and I registered online. But something that I noticed that we don't have is, if we registered online and we paid $5 for it, we don't get that money converted into fare payment. Is that going to be considered in the future? Because other transit agencies like SEPTA in Philadelphia has it, LA Metro, DC has it, Chicago, but not us with our Omni card.
At the moment, no, that is to cover the costs of the card. The card lasts a lot longer than a Metro card. It lasts 7 years and does have the chip and antenna in it. So right now it is a card purchase, or rather a cost of the card, separate from transit fare value, which you have to add.
We understand that, Amy, but my point here is, we understand that we could pay $5. That's the similar case in SEPTA in Philadelphia, that they charge us $4.95. But if we register the card before a certain amount of time, those $4.95, they convert that into a fare. So we should consider that.
And I will take that away to those who deal with fare policy to let them know that. I do understand what you're saying and what you're asking, that you want the fee for the card, that's a one-time fee, not to be just a fee, but ultimately for whether it's registering the card or some other reason to somehow ultimately get to realize that as transit fare value.
Exactly. And another question, if I may, Amy, I've been having some confusion if the path, in other words, the Port Authority in general, will ultimately utilize Omni. Because I saw
Okay,
one passenger.
I'm sorry, we have to, we got the point, and I'm only cutting you off because we have 5 minutes left. Andrew's gotta go, and we have another question, but I believe the question is about the Port Authority,
When
right?
I see you to Broadway, we could talk about it more in depth.
But the
So
Port
thank you,
Authority.
Amy.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
Thank you, and Mr. X.
Amy, did you want to address the past, use of Omni? As they're both cubic, I guess it's coming at some point, right?
Yeah, PATH has chosen, or the same vendor as us in a system pretty much like ours. Frankly, I think it's because all our products are designed so they can benefit from that. But they'll do their own closed loop card. They'll have open loop acceptance, meaning bank card acceptance as well. So what we've already touched base with them on is working together so that our Omni card and whatever they're going to call their PATH card, can work in each other's systems. And in the background, we just have some kind of agreement, financial agreement, how we're going to make that work. But the technology, as long as it's similar or the same, then we can work that through the back office and the validators. They'll have a back office and validators like ours, and we already have ours. So it doesn't eliminate the ability for intermodal customers between PATH and NYCT to conceivably use the same card to travel both systems, which you can do if you use your bank card anyway. But if you want to have a closed loop card, not a bank card, we've already started a conversation with them to be able to make that happen in the future.
Mr. X?
This is the last.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, Amy, I have one question, one concern. My concern is, you didn't mention how fair it's like we can purchase the Omni card. My question is, if you tap your whether debit card, does an amount get deducted from that card, and if so, how? I never knew the answer to that.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I'm just having a little hard time hearing all of the question.
The question was, if you tap your credit or debit card, does the amount of a ride get deducted, and how does that happen? And
Yes.
also, how do you find out where to buy physical Omni cards?
Okay, so first, if you use your bank card directly, the physical card, or you've put that card into Apple Pay or Google Pay on your phone or watch, if you tap it, the validator that you're tapping on just says this is a valid payment method, and the information from your tap is sent to the Omni back office. You're allowed to enter, and then it says, okay, single ride, $2.75 or $1.35, or whatever is your rider class fare value, and it sends a message to your bank that says this person, made a transaction. So when you tap at that validator, it's similar to if you went to a convenience store and said, I want to buy a cup of coffee, a large coffee, and you give them your card and they charge your card $1.35 or $2 for that coffee. It's New York, maybe it's $5. And that transaction is made. So you're tapping on the validator is similar to you're using that same card to buy something at another merchant. And the transaction is processed exactly the same way at that convenience store. It just goes first, the transaction message, the software goes first to our Omni back office, and then we send it to the bank. Oh, and then does that answer that first question? I know you had a second one, which I'll answer.
Yes,
I don't know how, where I can purchase the Omni card.
yes, that answers the first
the
part.
second.
And it's where to get a physical Omni card.
Right. So they are supposed to be available. I'm hearkening back to Andrew's opening comment about the difficulty with making sure they're available. They're available at 7-Elevens, at Walgreens, and at a lot of independent drugstores in the region, in the 5 boroughs. We do have an application on the omni.info website called the Retail Locator. We're doing some cleanup of technical glitches we have with it right now. But the Retail Locator is supposed to let you type in your address or your zip code and let you know what stores or whatever zip code or address you want to type in, and let you know what stores are located around the address you gave us in the software on the website, are available with Omni cards. Currently, CVS does not sell Omni cards, but will starting in May. Right now, they only reload Omni cards. They support that. But all the 7-Elevens, all the Walgreens, and then a lot of individual independent pharmacies, a lot of mom and pop stores, bodegas, et cetera, all are supposed to have Omni cards. But we're, as I said at the beginning, we're having some challenges with the consistency of whether the cards are actually available, put out on those gift card hooks where you can see Amazon cards, Applebee cards, Target, Barnes and Noble. That's where the Omni cards are supposed to be, on these gift card spinning racks. And they are in a lot of places. People have found them, 4,000 cards worth, but a lot of people also have been disappointed and frustrated. They've gone to, say, 7-Eleven or Walgreens and not found them. So that's what we're working on cleaning up with these retailers.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you, Amy.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope I've answered your questions. I've got Jason's takeaway. I've got Andrew's observation, which I think is shared somewhat internally here at MTA, and I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you. And shouldn't be another year plus since when we come back. Hopefully it's shorter than that.
Thank you.
Agree. No more pandemics, no more time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
And we are actually out of time.
I was just gonna say, make a motion to adjourn.
Andrew had to go to another meeting. If there are no pressing issues, if there are pressing issues, please email me. Otherwise,
Make a motion to adjourn?
You skip old and new business.
well, that's because we've run out of time. So if there are pressing issues, please email me. Otherwise,
I just said,
we have to give up the room. So,
yes, make a motion to adjourn.
yeah, okay. Second? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Our next meeting is PCAC on March 3rd.
When you come for PCAC, I'll have it.